Good morning, guys. It's the 6th of July 2021 and it's been raining all night. Hasn't stopped. It was chucking it down at 4 o'clock this morning when I woke up. It's now 5:30 and it's still raining. I'm just standing out here in the rain because I can. Let's go for a little wander around the garden, eh? Here we are at Brassica Corner. I can't actually get in there because if I do I'll slip. I'm a little concerned about slipping. They're looking really good. They're looking really happy in there. That's cool. And here we are. This is our tree fence. Tree fence. It's a tree fence basically. It's a fence of trees. Now I'm thinking that these little chestnuts could probably do with being potted on, which means they're 2 litre pots, because some of them are getting quite big now, and I figure that would probably have to happen at about this time, so we're gonna have to wait a couple more weeks till I've got some money in the bank, and then I'm gonna have to get some more 2 litre pots for them, because I think 2 litre pots are fine and they can be shipped in 2 litre pots, but they can't be shipped in 5 litre pots, or 10 litre pots, which are the ones that we get from the cut flower buckets. How's our plums going? Plums! There's quite a few I've knocked off, whether that's the storm or just how things are going back here, I don't know. Can't tell you. But look at this. Look at this. This is the apricot. That is a new growth branch. That's kind of cool. Let's keep going down here. Oh, well, these guys are just loving it, aren't they? Have a look at that. I mean, we had a look at these guys yesterday, and look at that. That's like a day's worth of growth. Ooh. Look. It's the patty pans. Oh my god, the patty pans! Is that a daddy one or a mummy one? I think that's a daddy one. Okay. Is that chard? Some of that's running to seed already, so I might have to start picking some of that, eh? Might be a good idea. Now beans. Beans are slowly, because they're growing outwards, they're starting to get the idea that they're going to end up dropping. So that's what I wanted to do with those, was to get them to drop rather than climb up. And it's happening, which is cool. That's a good thing, right? Okay. Ooh. It's so wet. I do love the rain. I'm not going to lie. There's more in there. Is that actually... Did I double? Oh, do you know what? I might have actually double seeded that one and forgotten about the little one, because that's got nasturtiums as well as marigolds in it. We've all done it, right? Yep, we've all done it. And the rain is chucking it down. Thankfully, this guy has obviously gotten over its drunken hump and is sitting quite nicely upright, which is where it should be, and it is really chucking it down. Okay, so this particular plant, which is one of the surprise courgettes, has taken a bit of battering when the olive tree keeps landing on it, but it's doing okay. Oh, look at that. Soon. Yummies. Hey, get out of there. You're not allowed. Ooh, slug. Get rid of that. You little bastards. Get out of here. My God. Where else are they? No. They're in my flowers. No. Assholes, get. No. Not having that. I am not having that. What have they done to my flowers? Little thoughts. buds. Do seem to be quite a lot of them actually, just floating around the place right here. I think it's time to bring out the big guns. Start making, you know, the beer pubs. Look, this is where our late strawberries start developing. They're the first ones to come in, and they're the last ones to actually fruit. These ones in the front, it's amazing. This lot needs to have its first harvest. I can deal with that. Okay, I'm going in. It's really starting to chuck it down now. Right. Okay. Yes, madam. Hang on a second. Hang on, guys. The rest of the garden can wait until it's not quite so damp. Now, I know a lot of you have actually seen my giveaway, giveaway video, and where I kind of do a first explanation of the dream, right? Proper explanation of the dream. Now, anyone who's actually been paying attention to what's going on in the UK, or has been for the last little while, last few years, we have a government that is in power, that has been for a decade, that has never had the majority vote ever. In that time, they've manipulated the system to make it so that it looks like they have a majority vote, and they don't. And little by little, they are breaking down the systems one by one, breaking down what's good one by one, breaking down what's helping people like myself and the people who live around us, support networks for those who desperately need it, benefits for those who need them, making it more impossible to get them, and breaking ties with those that we need, because in this country we only at one time carry enough food to feed the country for 2 weeks. We only produce 17% of the food that we eat in this country, and during autumn and winter we don't produce anything at all for the wider population at all. So for those of you who don't know, who may be living under a rock or just don't know, Brexit was Britain's exit of the European Union. We are no longer a part of Europe. This decision was made not by the people. The government pulled a referendum. They called a referendum. People voted for the referendum. One, because of the lies. Two, and there were a lot of lies, and they couldn't be bothered doing their own research. Two, for just for the crack. They couldn't be asked, so they just voted for it. They didn't know what they were voting for, and they really didn't care. And then the government had a general election straight after it, and because they'd manipulated the numbers, as in created more seats in the areas that they know were a positive vote for them, or a safe seat for them, they created more seats, which meant that they could get first past the post, which is basically what first past the post is. If you get a certain amount of seats, you win Parliament. And that's what the Conservative government have done here in Britain. they create out of one seat 4. So they don't get the majority vote. They're getting the same vote as they did before, but because they have more seats, that's what is counted. So that's now left this country in a very, very vulnerable position. Very vulnerable. Which means the vulnerable are more vulnerable than before. During 2 elections back, for the first time ever, food banks, which are a symptom of a broken society, were used by the government in their budget strategy to feed people. Not, we're going to make benefits a little easier, or we're going to make it easier on the working poor, which is what they are. There's a majority of people who go to food banks, they're actually working full time or working several jobs, but they still can't afford to feed their families. They're paying mortgages, they're paying their bills, they're paying the rates, they're paying everything, but they cannot afford to do that or pay rent and feed their families. So instead of upping the minimum wage, which is what it is, they changed the name of minimum wage to living wage and put it up by 60p an hour. And that was supposed to be enough. The actual living wage in this country is £17 an hour. The majority of people earn less than £10 an hour. This is why I feel that what I want to do, or my dream, is so important, because people need that. They need to learn how to grow for themselves. If we don't grow for ourselves at this point, we're in big trouble. More and more pictures are coming up of the supermarkets over here, even in the mainstream media, of supermarkets running out of food. Now they're doing this because of the whole Brexit thing. There's not enough HGV drivers, not enough truck drivers. One of the main supermarkets is dumping nearly 50 tonnes of food a week because there are no drivers. And it explains why, when we've gone to certain supermarkets, that the fresh fruit and veg has only lasted 24 hours before it started going mouldy. We need to start growing our own. We need to start having community gardens. We need to start the whole process that we had during the war again of digging for victory, because I tell you what, without it, we're all sunk. We are really lucky where we live, that we have been cheeky enough to push the boundaries of the rules of where we are to do what we're doing. If it, like I've said a couple of times before, it was up to us, we wouldn't have a lawn. It would all be raised beds, but it's not up to us. This is a communal garden. And as much as the neighbours don't care what we do, the York Council has rules in place that say we can't do it, because they're sick of the arguing between neighbours. So this is one of the main reasons we're trying to get a different location. You know, one of the reasons. There's a lot of other reasons. And if you've watched the previous videos, you'll know them all pretty much by now. So there's no point in going through them all again. But yeah, so start growing something. Me taking those seedlings up to the community centre yesterday means that somebody else can grow something. I've actually been looking at the price of 6-plug seedling trays. I'm thinking of actually putting those together and maybe selling them for £2 each next year, so people can start growing. Because a lot of people won't buy the seeds, they'll buy the trays. of the seedlings. But you've got to keep it at a price that people can afford, which is fine. And that we can afford and make a profit out of, because if we're not making a profit, then there's not a lot of point. I mean, yeah, there is a point, but we need the money to come in to buy the things to do the next lot. Do you know what I mean? So we need to make a bit of a profit, make our money back. I'm going to think on it more. But what can you do for your community to get them growing? To help them grow? Can you grow stuff for your neighbour or friends or people that you know? You've got space, they haven't. What can you do to help them? Go down to your local community centre. Go down to your local food bank. Have a chat to them. See what's possible and what you can do for them. Anyway, guys, I'm going to go. I love you guys heaps. Bye. Blessings.